Hey guys, I hope you're well. It's Tori here. As you know, I recently picked up the CMF by Nothing Buds 2 and did an unboxing. Now, you've been asking me to do a review on these, so I figured, hey, why not do that? So I'm going to look at the packaging, give some thoughts about these, and bought them from the Nothing Tech website. They're on a special promotion of a launch price £34, regular price is $39, so you're saving £5. Start with the packaging. We saw this before, but it's quite a small, slim box. I've got the light green color. I just got a nice picture of the actual case on the box. And, on the side, you've just got the usual stuff. Picture of the buds, CMF for nothing. Bottom is nothing. The usual specs, blah, 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 and whatnot. So is that. Comparison to the Buds Pro 2, the box is the same. It's identical box. So, a quick look inside. It's pretty bare bones. You've just got, for the case, and you've got your pamphlet, and you've got a space there for the extra tips. So they come with the medium tips applied, pretty standard, and you've got small and large in the box, and that's it. There's no USB cable or anything else. Now in comparison, with the Buds Pro, you've got obviously this case in there, and you got the ear tips as well, right? But you do get a USB, C to USB A charging cable as well in there. So while the Buds Pro 2 are more expensive, you're getting a few more things in there. So as I said, these are the light green. I quite like this. It's quite snazzy. Feels good in the hand. These are a bit smaller if I compare them to the ear. These are like the ear from last year, so the ear 24 edition, I guess you could call it, or the Nothing Ear 3. They keep changing their naming conventions around. It's crazy. This wheel here, this is not a volume control. It's the same as the original Buds. It's just a lanyard holder. You can see there it's got the two little holes. You can put your lanyard in there and tie it up and hold it. But it has a nice transparent design. I quite like that little touch of the transparency on there. So it kind of brings in the nothing element in. It's kind of nice. So I got the Buds Pro 2 here and the Buds 2 here. These are the blue. These are light green. Obviously, first thing you notice is, here you got the click wheel to control and do some actions. It's not present on the Buds 2 because these are the cheaper earphones. Touching them, these, I don't know if it's just because it's the blue color or it's just because of the Pros. These feel a bit more better plastic to me. They kind of feel a slight kind of rubber matte texture. It's hard to describe, but whereas these are still good. It's not bad. It is what it is, but it's kind of more. It's that slightly more plastic feel. It's hard to describe. Comparing it with the ear. Again, the ear feels a bit more solid. This is kind of a bit more smoother, kind of a bit. But for the price, it's cool. Size-wise, it's much the same to me as the Buds 2 Pro in terms of the case. One difference is just the branding on the Buds Pro 2. They had that kind of CMF sort of symbols with the circles and dots and all that, and they've just gone for an actual CMF by Nothing now. So that's interesting that they seem to be dropping this sort of subtle branding, going for more telling it like it is. It's CMF by Nothing. I'm not bothered, but it is an interesting choice. How do you guys feel about that? Do you prefer the sort of mystery of the circles and dots and, or do you actually want it spelled out? Now, there's the reset button there and there. It's hard to see, but it's in the same spot. It's basically the same. Again, the branding on the Buds Pro 2, you can see inside here it's got CMF by Nothing, the brand, whereas on the Buds, it's actually telling you the product. So it says it's Buds 2. One other thing of note, these are both literally brand new from the box, although I've been trying them out, but I haven't touched anything else. On the Buds Pro 2, you can see there's a bit of a plastic protection inside the case for this writing and stuff, and obviously when it closes it down, it kind of protects the buds a bit. Whereas on the Buds 2, it doesn't have that plastic Another thing as well too, on the actual buds themselves, on the stems, right? See on the Buds Pro 2, which is the blue on top. Right, again, it has that kind of, the sort of symbols, the branding symbols of the circles and dots and things on it. Whereas on the new Buds 2, it doesn't have any branding. There's nothing on there at all. They still have the same dot, which is the touch area. So these are like, touch sensitive controls rather than pinch controls. Now, one thing I found, it's kind of cool with the lanyard bit. It's a bit like a fidget toy, It has a nice kind of wheel. We can kind of scroll it. So if you got your Buds 2 in your pocket, in your hand, and you're just in a meeting, or I don't know, you're just waiting for a bus, you can just kind of like flick the wheel around. As long as you don't have a lanyard, of course. It's kind of fun. You can kind of roll it on the desk. I don't know. Okay, so I've got a Nothing 3A Pro. I've got my CMF Buds 2. Let's see if I open them up. Can I connect them? And okay, so there's the Android fast pairing. It's popped up to connect. We'll connect them. It's got the buds there. And blah blah blah. We do the setup. So I set up. I've got the updated Nothing X app. So it goes through like the usual setup. It's just telling you about the controls, touch zones that you can configure for next track and playing and pausing and all that stuff. So we'll just yada yada yada. All right, whole noise control. Get started. And so there we are. We've got their buds connected. We got the battery levels, kind of standard stuff. These have ANC noise cancelling, so we obviously can do the transparency, noise. All right, pretty standard. Spatial audio, that seems kind of cool. It's not head tracking audio. I did try it. It seems a bit louder. It doesn't really feel like, I'm in a room full of sound, if I'm honest. It just sounds like it just ups the amps of the sound. I tried the ultra bass. I didn't feel like it was giving much bass, but maybe that's me. Yeah, this is using the Dirac Optio as a default for the equalizer, which is cool. So that's nice. Yeah, so these are standard things. I tried these out. Now, comparison to the Buds Pro 2, I would say the Buds Pro 2 sounded better to me. Now, I'm not an audiophile, okay? I'm not a sound guru or an expert by any means or any fashions. I just like what I like, and if it sounds okay, it sounds okay to me, right? So these sounded fine to me. They weren't like the fake ear ones I had where they're a bit tinny and kind of really rubbish. They sounded decent to me. Obviously, compared to the Buds Pro 2, the Buds Pro 2, I would say, edged them out, right? These sounded a bit better. These were a bit more, slightly louder, a bit more maybe bassier compared to these. So I listened to the same songs over and over and over again, and this sounded good, but then when it was the Buds Pro 2, they just sounded a bit more uplifting in terms of some of the tracks. I was listening to like classical and some kind of R&B and things like that. So definitely Buds Pro 2 sounded better to me versus these. ANC, it's about the same, on par with these. They did a decent job, kind of at home, keeping background noises out. I went for a walk. I can hear traffic and sirens and all that stuff, but I think that's the same with everything. I mean, it's about the same as, even with the ear, about the same to me. If I go outside with the ear, I hear a bus, I'll hear cars honking. So these just as much as these and these and these. The Buds Pro 2, to me, were better overall than the Buds 2. Now, it's a bit tricky with the pricing because these have launched a regular retail price of £39 in the UK. The Buds Pro 2, however, were originally £59. So that's like, these are £20 more than these, which can be a lot of money. That's fair. These are currently on sale in the UK, at least, for £49. If you could afford that extra tenner, then I suppose you might as well just get the Buds Pro 2, because you're getting, for that extra tenner, you're getting better sound, you're getting high-res audio, you're getting the controls, the music controls as well on here, and everything else is pretty much the same, right? So you're getting a better deal for a tenner, extra more. So it's hard to recommend from that point of view. Hey man, how about the ear? And the ear A, you ask me. Well, good question. Well, I mean, these are probably in that kind of ear A territory. Now, the difference there is the ear... I don't have an ear A. The ears are, at the moment, £99 on the UK website. And ear A's £89. So again, you've got that £10. It's like, for an extra £10, you can get the ears. But then going from sort of 39 for these to 89 or so, you're looking at a £50, it's like kind of like double your price. So that's a slight wider gap, right? And so in that case, you may think, well, actually, yeah, so between these and an ear A and an ear, for double your money, that's a different consideration, right? And that's a bigger gap than the £10. So from that point of view, these are decent for the price. Either one of these is good for that price compared to, say, the ear A's or the ear. If you do have the money and you fancy something better, then definitely you can go for the ear A's and the ears, and you'll probably be happy with those, right? If you're in an area where maybe the ears themselves are not sold and you only have availability of the CMF Buds 2 and the Buds 2 Pro, right? And again, it depends on the prices in your local market, right? I'm just saying, if you're in the UK and you asked me, hey, which of these two should I buy? I might be, well, what's your budget? If you said to me, my budget's like 39, then like, okay, yeah, definitely Buds 2 is good. If you said to me, oh, actually, I got an extra tenner I could spend, then like, well, you might as well get the Buds Pro 2 because they're pretty decent. So as I say, they're a decent pair of earphones. I've got no complaints. My only complaint is just the dilution of the product lineup. With having CMF Buds 2, the existing Buds 2 Pro, which to me are kind of better than these because they sounded slightly louder and had more richness to them than these, although these are alright. But for an extra £10, you can get that better sound. You get the volume control, the button on it, high-res audio. You still get the dual connection and the spatial audio, or all the other stuff. It's got dual drivers in these as well too. These are single drivers. And on top of that, they're announcing Buds 2A and Buds 2 Plus. So where they'll sit in that lineup, is it Buds 2A and Buds 2, and then is it Buds Plus and Buds Pro, or is it, who knows? So final verdict, I like them. I love the color. I think they're right for the price. But you could get something better for a similar price, just for a bit more at the moment. So the market's in your favor. If you got any questions or things I haven't covered, you want to know more, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and you'll take care.